I woke up this morning and felt genuinely excited about the day ahead. Not because anything special was happening, not because I had won the lottery or got amazing news. I felt excited about an ordinary Tuesday morning in February. 3 years ago, this would have been impossible for me. 3 years ago, I was clinically depressed. I would wake up every morning with a heavy feeling in my chest, dreading the day ahead. I was successful on paper, had good relationships, and had achieved most of the goals I had set for myself. But inside, I felt empty, anxious, and constantly worried about everything. I tried everything the self-help books recommended. I practiced gratitude, I exercised regularly, I ate healthy food, I got therapy, I even tried medication for a while. Some of these things helped a little bit, but I still woke up most mornings feeling like I was dragging myself through life instead of living it. Then I discovered something that completely changed everything. It wasn't a secret technique or ancient wisdom practice. It was a simple understanding about how happiness works that nobody had ever explained to me properly. And once I understood this one concept, my entire relationship with happiness transformed forever. What I'm about to share with you isn't about positive thinking or pretending everything is perfect when it's not. This is about the real science of happiness, based on decades of research and tested by thousands of people who have gone from chronic unhappiness to genuine daily joy. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete system for creating happiness that doesn't depend on external circumstances, other people's behavior, or perfect conditions. Before we dive in, I need to address something important. If you're dealing with serious depression, anxiety, or other mental health conditions that interfere with your daily functioning, please work with a qualified professional. What I'm sharing today is about building happiness habits and mindset shifts, not replacing proper medical care when you need it. Now, here's what almost everyone gets wrong about happiness, and this misunderstanding is why most people struggle with it their entire lives. We've been taught that happiness is something that happens to us when good things occur. We think happiness is the result of getting what we want, avoiding what we don't want, and having everything go according to our plans. But neuroscience research from Harvard, Stanford, and Yale has proven this belief completely wrong. Happiness isn't something that happens to you. Happiness is something you create through specific mental and behavioral practices. And here's the shocking part. Your external circumstances only account for about 10% of your overall happiness levels. Dr. Sonia Lubomirsky, who has studied happiness for over 30 years, found that 50% of your happiness is determined by your genetics, 10% by your circumstances, and 40% by your daily actions and thought patterns. This means that almost half of your happiness is completely under your control, regardless of what's happening in your life. Think about that for a second. You have direct control over 40% of your happiness through the choices you make every single day. Most people are completely unaware of this power and spend their lives waiting for external conditions to make them happy. Let me tell you about Jennifer, because her story perfectly illustrates how this works. Jennifer was a successful lawyer who had everything most people dream of. She made 6 figures, lived in a beautiful house, had a loving family, and was respected in her community. But she was miserable. Jennifer would wake up every morning feeling anxious about her schedule. She would worry about client meetings, stress about deadlines, and feel overwhelmed by her responsibilities. Even on weekends, she couldn't relax because she was either catching up on work or worrying about the work she wasn't doing. Jennifer assumed she was unhappy because her job was stressful. She thought if she could just get a better work-life balance or maybe switch careers, she would finally be happy. But here's what she discovered when she started studying the science of happiness. Her unhappiness wasn't coming from her job. It came from her relationship with her thoughts. Jennifer's mind was constantly focused on problems, worst-case scenarios, and everything that could go wrong. She was living in a state of chronic stress not because her life was stressful, but because her mind was trained to look for stress everywhere. Jennifer learned about something called the happiness set point theory. This theory suggests that we all have a baseline level of happiness that we return to regardless of positive or negative events. Someone who wins the lottery experiences a temporary boost in happiness, but eventually returns to their baseline. Someone who experiences a tragedy feels sad initially, but also eventually returns to their baseline. The key insight is that you can raise your baseline happiness level through consistent practices. It's like physical fitness. Some people are naturally more athletic, but anyone can become significantly fitter through regular exercise. Similarly, some people are naturally more optimistic, but anyone can become significantly happier through mental training. Jennifer started implementing what researchers call happiness interventions. These are specific activities that have been proven to increase baseline happiness levels when practiced consistently. Within 6 months, Jennifer's entire experience of life had transformed. She still had the same job, the same responsibilities, and the same external pressures. But she woke up feeling excited about her day instead of dreading it. She handled stress more easily, enjoyed her relationships more, and felt a sense of inner peace that she had never experienced before. That Jennifer's success at work improved during this process. When you're genuinely happy, you're more creative, more focused, and more resilient. You make better decisions because you're not constantly operating from a place of stress and anxiety. This is what I call the happiness paradox. When you stop chasing happiness through external achievements and start creating it internally, you often achieve more external success as a result. Happy people are more productive, more charismatic, and better at solving problems than unhappy people. But let's talk about what happiness means, because there's a lot of confusion about this. Many people think happiness means feeling excited or euphoric all the time. They think if they're not constantly enthusiastic and positive, something is wrong. That's not what sustainable happiness looks like. Real happiness is a deep sense of contentment and well-being that exists regardless of your momentary emotions. You can feel sad about something that happened and still have an underlying sense of happiness about your life overall. Dr. Martin Seligman, the father of positive psychology, identified 5 elements of authentic happiness. The first is positive emotion, which includes things like joy, gratitude, and love. But this is just one piece of the puzzle. The second element is engagement. This means being fully absorbed in activities that use your strengths and challenge you appropriately. When you're engaged, you lose track of time because you're completely focused on what you're doing. The third element is relationships. Humans are social creatures, and strong connections with other people are essential for happiness. But not just any relationships, meaningful relationships where you feel seen, understood, and valued. The fourth element is meaning. This means feeling like your life has purpose and that you're contributing to something bigger than yourself. Meaning doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It just needs to feel significant to you. The fifth element is achievement. This means accomplishing goals and developing mastery in areas that matter to you. Achievement gives you a sense of progress and competence that contributes to overall life satisfaction. The beautiful thing about this model is that you don't need to maximize all 5 elements to be happy. But you do need some of each element in your life. And here's the key insight. You can work on developing all these elements regardless of your external circumstances. Now, let me share the specific system I developed for creating daily happiness. This system is based on the latest research in positive psychology and has been tested by hundreds of people with consistently positive results. I call it the SPARK method. S stands for Start with Gratitude. Every morning, before you check your phone or start your day, spend 5 minutes thinking about 3 things you're grateful for. But here's the crucial part. Don't just list them. Really feel the gratitude in your body. Think about why you're grateful for each thing and how it makes your life better. This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about training your brain to notice and appreciate the good things that already exist in your life. Research from UC Davis shows that people who practice gratitude regularly are 25% happier than people who don't. They also sleep better, have stronger relationships, and even have better immune systems. P stands for Practice Presence. Throughout your day, regularly bringing your attention back to the present moment. Most unhappiness comes from either worrying about the future or regretting the past. But life happens in the present moment. This doesn't mean you should never plan or learn from past experiences. It means you should spend most of your mental energy focused on what's happening right now instead of getting lost in thoughts about other times. You can practice presence by paying attention to your breath, noticing your surroundings, or fully engaging in whatever activity you're doing. Even 2 minutes of intentional presence can shift your entire mood. A stand for, act with kindness. Do something kind for another person every single day. This could be as simple as giving someone a genuine compliment, helping a coworker with a project, or sending an encouraging text to a friend. Acts of kindness trigger the release of oxytocin, which researchers call happiness hormone. But the effect is strongest when your kindness is genuine and selfless. The goal isn't to make yourself feel good, although that's a nice side effect. The goal is to contribute positively to someone else's day. R stands for reflect and grow. At the end of each day, spend a few minutes thinking about what you learned and how you grew. This could be a skill you developed, a mistake you made that taught you something, or an insight you gained about yourself or life. This practice helps you see each day as valuable regardless of whether everything went according to plan. It also helps you maintain a growth mindset, which is strongly associated with happiness and resilience. K stands for keep your body healthy. Your physical health has a massive impact on your mental and emotional well-being. You don't need to become a fitness expert, but you do need to take care of the basic needs of your body. This means getting enough sleep, eating food that gives you energy rather than draining it, moving your body regularly, and spending some time outdoors. When your body feels good, it's much easier for your mind to feel good too. Let me tell you about David, because his transformation using this method was incredible. David was a software engineer who had been struggling with low-level depression for years. He wasn't suicidal or unable to function, but he rarely felt genuinely happy or excited about anything. David had tried various approaches to improve his mood, including therapy, medication, and different self-help strategies. Some things helped temporarily, but nothing created lasting change in his baseline happiness. Then David decided to implement the Spark method consistently for 90 days. He committed to practicing all 5 elements every single day, even when he didn't feel like it. For the first 2 weeks, David didn't notice much difference. He was going through the motions of gratitude and kindness, but it felt forced and artificial. He almost gave up several times because it didn't seem to be working. But David decided to stick with it for the full 90 days. Around week 3, something started shifting. The gratitude practice began feeling more natural, and he started noticing positive things throughout his day that he had been missing before. By week 6, David's co-workers started commenting that he seemed different. He was more engaged in meetings, more patient with difficult clients, and generally more pleasant to be around. David was surprised because he hadn't been trying to change his behavior at work. It was just happening naturally. By the end of the 90 days, David felt like a completely different person. He woke up most mornings feeling genuinely good about the day ahead. He handled stress much better than before. His relationships with friends and family had improved because he was more present and positive when he spent time with them. But here's the most shocking part. David's external circumstances hadn't changed at all during those 90 days. He had the same job, the same apartment, the same social circle, and the same daily routine. But his inner experience of life had transformed completely. This is the power of understanding how happiness works. When you stop waiting for external conditions to make you happy and start creating happiness through daily practices, you discover that you have much more control over your emotional state than you ever imagined. Now, let me address the biggest obstacle to daily happiness, because this trips up almost everyone. The obstacle is the negativity bias. Your brain is wired to pay more attention to negative information than positive information as a survival mechanism. In prehistoric times, the humans who survived were the ones who were constantly scanning for threats and problems. If you missed a beautiful sunset, that didn't threaten your survival. But if you missed a dangerous predator, you might not survive to pass on your genes. This means your brain naturally focuses on what's wrong, what's missing, what could go wrong, and what you need to worry about. This served our ancestors well, but in modern life, it often makes us unnecessarily miserable. The good news is that you can train your brain to notice positive things more easily. It's like building a muscle. The more you practice looking for good things, the stronger that mental pathway becomes. But you must be intentional about this because your default programming is to focus on problems. This is why gratitude practice in the Spark method is so important. You're literally rewiring your brain to notice and appreciate positive aspects of your life. Let me share some additional techniques that will help you overcome the negativity bias and create more daily happiness. These are what I call happiness hacks, simple strategies that can shift your mood quickly when you're feeling down. Happiness hack number 1 is the 24-hour rule. When something disappointing or frustrating happens, ask yourself, will this matter in 24 hours? About 80% of the things that upset us during the day are completely forgotten within 24 hours. This perspective helps you avoid wasting emotional energy on temporary inconveniences. Save your stress and worry about things that deserve it. Happiness hack number 2 is the progress principle. At the end of each day, identify at least one area where you made progress, no matter how small. This could be learning something new, completing a task, improving a relationship, or developing a skill. Progress is one of the strongest predictors of happiness. When you feel like you're moving forward in areas that matter to you, you naturally feel more satisfied and optimistic. Happiness hack number 3 is the connection practice. Make genuine connection with at least one person every day. This could be having a meaningful conversation with a friend, expressing appreciation to someone who helped you, or simply making eye contact and smiling at a stranger. Humans are wired for connection, and even small moments of genuine interaction can boost your mood significantly. Happiness hack number 4 is the nature reset. Spend at least 10 minutes outside every day, preferably in a natural setting. If you live in a city, this could be sitting in a park, walking around your neighborhood, or even just standing outside your building. Research shows that spending time in nature reduces stress hormones, improves mood, and increases creativity. There's something about being outdoors that helps put life's challenges in perspective. Happiness hack number 5 is the accomplishment anchor. Do one small thing every day that makes you feel competent and capable. This could be organizing a messy drawer, learning a new recipe, solving a puzzle, or helping someone with something you're good at. Achievement doesn't have to be huge to be meaningful. Small wins throughout the day add up to an overall sense of competence and progress. Now, let's talk about what to do when life gets genuinely difficult. Because happiness doesn't mean pretending that challenges, losses, and painful experiences don't exist. Sometimes bad things happen, and it's normal and healthy to feel sad, angry, or worried about them. The goal isn't to be happy all the time, regardless of circumstances. The goal is to maintain your baseline happiness even when you're going through difficult periods. This means you can experience negative emotions about specific situations, while still having an underlying sense of well-being about your life overall. When you're dealing with serious challenges, the Spark method becomes even more important. These practices help you maintain emotional resilience and recover more quickly from setbacks. Let me tell you about Maria, because her story shows how these principles work even during extremely difficult times. Maria was happily married with 2 young children when her husband was diagnosed with cancer. The next 2 years were filled with treatments, financial stress, and constant uncertainty about the future. Maria would have been justified in feeling miserable during this period. But she had been practicing happiness habits for several years before this crisis hit, and she discovered that her mental training helped her cope much better than she expected. Maria continued her daily gratitude practice, but she had to adjust it for her circumstances. Instead of being grateful for big things, she focused on small moments. She felt grateful when her husband had a good day, when her children laughed at something funny, or when a friend brought dinner to help. She practiced presence by fully engaging in whatever was happening in each moment, instead of constantly worrying about the future. When she was reading to her children, she focused completely on that activity, instead of letting her mind wander to worst-case scenarios. Maria also maintained her kind practice, but it looked different during this period. She expressed extra appreciation to the medical staff, sent thank you notes to friends who helped, and found small ways to support other families going through similar challenges. The result was remarkable. Even during one of the most stressful periods of her life, Maria maintained a sense of inner peace and even experienced moments of genuine joy. She was able to be fully present for her husband and children instead of being consumed by worry and despair. This doesn't mean Maria never felt scared, sad, or overwhelmed. She experienced all of those emotions regularly, but underneath those temporary feelings, she maintained a deeper sense of strength and well-being that carried her through the crisis. Her husband ultimately recovered completely, but Maria learned that happiness isn't dependent on everything going well in your life. Real happiness is the ability to find meaning, connection, and moments of joy even during difficult circumstances. This brings me to one of the most important concepts in happiness science, which is the difference between hedonic adaptation and set point elevation. Hedonic adaptation is why getting what you think you want often doesn't make you happy for very long. When you get a promotion, buy something you've wanted, or achieve a goal, you feel happy temporarily. But then your expectations adjust to your new circumstances, and you return to your previous happiness level. This is why people who get everything they thought they wanted sometimes still feel empty or unfulfilled. Set point elevation is different. This is when you raise your baseline happiness level through mental training and habit change. Instead of depending on external circumstances for temporary happiness boosts, you develop the ability to generate consistent well-being from within. This is why the Spark method focuses on internal practices rather than external achievements. External things can certainly contribute to happiness, but they can't create sustainable happiness by themselves. Here's something else that most people don't understand about happiness. It's not a permanent state that you achieve and then maintain forever. Happiness is more like physical fitness. You must keep working at it consistently to maintain your results. Just like you can't exercise intensely for 3 months and then expect to stay fit for the rest of your life without continued effort. You can't practice happiness for a while and then expect to stay happy without ongoing practice. The good news is that happiness habits become easier and more natural over time, just like exercise habits do. When you first start working out, it feels difficult and uncomfortable. But eventually, physical activity becomes a natural part of your routine that you look forward to. The same thing happens with happiness practices. At first, gratitude and kindness might feel forced or artificial, but with consistent practice, these become natural ways of thinking and being that happen automatically. Let me share the most powerful happiness technique I've ever discovered. I call it the happiness anchor. This is a specific memory or experience that you can return to mentally whenever you need to shift your emotional state. Your happiness anchor should be a moment when you felt genuinely joyful, peaceful, or deeply satisfied. It could be a time when you achieved something important, experienced deep connection with someone you love, or felt completely at peace in a beautiful setting. The key is to choose a memory that brings up strong, positive emotions when you think about it. Once you've identified your happiness anchor, practice returning to it regularly. Close your eyes, relive the experience in detail, and let yourself feel those positive emotions again. With practice, you can use your happiness anchor to quickly shift your mood when you're feeling down. It's like having a mental reset button that you can use whenever you need it. Now, I want to address some common myths about happiness that prevent people from accessing their natural ability to feel good. Myth number 1 is that happy people are naive or unrealistic. Some people think that if you're happy, it means you're not aware of the problems in the world or your own life. This is false. Happy people are often more aware of challenges and problems than unhappy people because they're not consumed by their own negative emotions. When you feel good internally, you have more mental and emotional resources available to deal with external challenges. Myth number 2 is that you must choose between being happy and being successful. Some people believe that dissatisfaction and stress are necessary motivators for achievement. Research shows the opposite is true. Happy people are more creative, more productive, more resilient, and better at building relationships. They achieve more success, not despite their happiness, but because of it. Myth number 3 is that happiness is selfish. Some people feel guilty about prioritizing their own happiness when there are so many problems in the world. But think about it this way. When you're happy, you have more energy, kindness, and resources to contribute to others. Unhappy people are usually focused on their own problems and don't have much left over to give. Happy people are more generous, more helpful, and have more positive influences on everyone around them. Myth number 4 is that happiness comes naturally to some people and not others. While it's true that some people have a genetic predisposition toward optimism, everyone can significantly increase their happiness levels through practice. Just like some people are naturally more athletic, but anyone can get fitter, some people are naturally more optimistic, but anyone can get happier. Let me give you a 30-day challenge that will prove to you how much control you have over your own happiness. For the next 30 days, I commit to practicing the Spark method every single day. Start each morning by thinking of 3 things you're grateful for. Practice presence by spending at least 5 minutes fully focused on the current moment. Do 1 act of kindness for someone else. Reflect on what you learned or how you grew. And take care of your physical health through sleep, nutrition, and movement. Track your mood at the end of each day, on a scale of 1 to 10. I guarantee that by day 30, your average mood will be significantly higher than when you started. Most people won't complete this challenge because they're addicted to the drama and stress of focusing on what's wrong. But if you can commit to 30 days of intentional happiness practice, you'll experience a transformation that will shock you. Remember, happiness isn't something that happens to you when your life becomes perfect. Happiness is something you create through daily choices and practices. You don't have to wait for better circumstances, other people's approval, or achieving your goals to start feeling good about your life. The power to be happy every day is already inside you. You just need to learn how to access it consistently. And once you do, you'll wonder why you spent so many years waiting for external conditions to make you feel the way you could have been feeling all along. If this message resonates with you, I want you to act right now. In the comments below, tell me 1 thing you're genuinely grateful for right now. Don't overthink it. Just share something that makes you feel good about your life. Reading your gratitude in the comments will boost your mood, and it will also boost the mood of everyone who reads it. This is how happiness spreads, 1 person at a time. And if you're ready to dive deeper into creating unshakable inner peace and joy, hit that subscribe button. Because we're just getting started on this journey of building a truly happy life together. Your happiness matters, not just to you, but to everyone whose life you touch. When you're genuinely happy, you give everyone around you permission to be happy too. You become a light in the world that helps other people find their way to joy. The choice is yours. You can keep waiting for life to make you happy, or you can start creating happiness right now through the choices you make every single day. Choose joy. Choose gratitude. Choose to be happy every day.